Authors' names are provided in the description. Let's get into the video. I pissed on my daughter's grave. It was the best piss in my life. Okay, readers, for some context. In my opinion, that should be the fact that people who have sex before 18 are trash. I would lose a lot of friends as a teenager because they were horny bastards with no self-control. My daughter Sarah was living with garbage and most likely got it from her cheating mother. After the divorce, I got full custody of Sarah and her brother, Kyle. Their mother passed in a car crash, leaving them with me even more. The problem started when I noticed that Sarah was very into boys around 12 years old. I thought, okay, nothing too bad, but I told the kids not to even think about sex before 18 or else. So imagine my shock when I sent Sarah to camp at 14 and found out she had a boyfriend that snuck into her tent, and that they had lost their virginity together. I lost my SHT and slapped her so hard that it left a red mark that she covered with makeup. I then sent her and Kyle to a Catholic school, where I hoped that she could be saved. What I didn't know was that her boyfriend was also at that school. My little girl was caught giving him a BJ and was suspended. I then got my belt and went to work on fixing her, but she said that she loves him and that I can't stop them from being intimate. She then brought him home and properly introduced us. His name was Jack. Jack was so effing smug about how he was screwing my daughter. He said, "So you don't think teenagers should have sex? Huh, well, that's nice for you, but I love banging on your daughter." I told him to get out of my house. My little Sarah was pissed and told me to stop being a prude. Then I punched her in the stomach and said, "Don't you dare F him again ever." She cried while saying, "Okay, fine." I didn't know, but they were still banging at the school, and my good boy Kyle was a rat like me at his age. He told me that he overheard Sarah on the phone and that she did Jack at the Catholic school, and that they were quote effing their frustrations out, and that my little girl, my precious princess, my pride and joy, said, "God is watching us. I want you to F Jesus out of me. I swear to effing God, snitches like me and Kyle are heroes." I rushed home and found them in her bed. Jack then said, "Oh, look, babe, it's your prude B, Daddy." Long story short, Jack left my house with a black eye and a bloody nose, and he lied to his mother about how he got the injuries out of shame. Sarah then told me to stop trying to put an end to her sex life, and that she loved him, hated the Christian school, and liked having sex there. I then took my bat and destroyed Sarah's room. When Kyle got home, I told him to pummel his little sister, but he said no, so I threatened to ground him, so he beat up Sarah while I watched with joy. Needless to say, Sarah ran away so she could be a homeless bum at 16 and was, you guessed it, pregnant. But sadly, Jack's family took her in. She dropped out of the Catholic school. But it turned out Kyle told Sarah to cover his own arse because I found him and his girlfriend on my effing couch. So of course, after yelling at his slut girlfriend to get out, I pummeled my son. I guess I was the only hero in my household after all. Kyle's girlfriend dumped him, and he went to live with his sister and Jack's family. I later learned that Sarah had a pair of twins, and one passed away due to health problems, and I was happy because that little SHT was getting what was coming to her. It was even better because Jack was in pain too. They kept going with the other twin. I hoped for even worse misery for them, and that came 2 years later. There was a break-in at their apartment, and the worst happened. Not only were they robbed, but Jack was beaten within an inch of his life and could do nothing but watch helplessly as Sarah was violently s-ed by the intruders right in front of him. Jack later unalived from his injuries in the hospital. They lost everything they owned, and their only toddler was taken by CPS because a call was made to them by yours truly, of course. And also, Sarah got herpes from her attacker, which I know is hilarious. I was on cloud 9 when I found out, and I went to her broken apartment and told Sarah that she deserved it for being a teenage W. To add insult to injury, I let her know that I called CPs. She called me the devil and slammed the door in my face. Later, she found out that she was pregnant, and it was her attacker's baby. She then came crawling back to me because, for reasons I don't know, Jack's family wouldn't help her and Kyle wasn't around. She told me that she had no one else but me and asked for emotional support. That little SHT lost her virginity at 14, did the deed at Catholic school, ran off and got pregnant, then had the audacity to try and go back to me because she had no one else. I said that she could only come home if she said the following words: "I, Sarah, am a C and a POS who ruined her dad's life as well as her own and will listen to my dad." A few days later, she asked for abortion money. I said, "F no, you are not unaliving this baby." Sarah cried and said she wouldn't raise the baby of the man who had violated her. I then said, "What about adoption dip SHT?" Sarah said she didn't want to go through the pregnancy, the stress of it all, the adoption process itself, or postpartum depression. She said abortion would just be simpler. I said a murderer would not be in my house. Sarah said okay, but then had the audacity to get the abortion in secret and try to pass it off as a miscarriage. Then she tried to say she was only joking and was never pregnant. I got the truth out of her, then proceeded to beat the ever-loving SHT out of her and throw her skanked, murdering STD-ridden asses out of my house. When I was punching her, I told her she deserved it when she got SAD. And then she ended the baby. There is a special place in hell for her, and Jack is already there waiting for her. I don't know how to normally condone SA or murder, but I commend Sarah's attacker for giving her and that bastard Jack what they deserved. 4 months later, I opened the door, and there was my son Kyle in a nice suit. He punched me in the face and told me I was the reason his sister was ended. Apparently, she hung herself. Kyle said that I was a piss-poor excuse of a parent for using my kids just for having intimate fun. And getting my only grandchild into foster care, Kyle couldn't get the kid because I informed CPS about Kyle's previous substance use. It shouldn't be surprising that Kyle claims I'm the reason he became a substance addict. Since Kyle was wearing a suit, I assumed he went to her funeral, and he confirmed my hypothesis. Since Kyle punched me, I beat the SHT out of him and threw that ungrateful crackhead out of my house while he was crying over his B-sister. It was fun beating Kyle, just not as fun as Sarah. Probably because I think it's more fun to hit women. Considering the title of the post, I think you know where this is going. I went to her grave when no one else was around, and I was just mocking her for the fact that her self-harm guaranteed her place in hell. I then sarcastically asked her if getting Jesus F-ed out of her was worth it. I took a good, long piss all around the dirt. It was a great pass, the kind where you just put your head and neck back and moan quietly. Late at night, I found Jack's grave, took a nice SHT on it, and wiped my arse on the gravestone. I then went back home and slept like a effing baby that night. F those ungrateful kids. So yeah, that's it. Okay, well, one more thing. I mean this with all my heart. If you're reading this and you lost your virginity before the age of 18, F you. You're a W. If you ever had an abortion, F you, you're a baby ender. If you don't fall into the categories above, you are right. If I'm your cheater, then F you. Alright, signing out. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoy listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.